Good afternoon. Welcome to a gentle back care class. So for this class today, we're going to start standing up together and go through some gentle unwinding stretches in a standing position. And then we're going to make our way down to the floor. So if you want to prepare a yoga mat, you can, or use some soft carpeting at your house. I also have a blanket ready for the back of my head, and I'm going to use a TheraBand that is just knotted into a great big circle. When we get to stretching, you don't have to have one, and I'll show you what you can do if you don't have one. But if you're a TheraBand kind of person or a yoga strap kind of person, go ahead and put that in place. All right, let's go. So we're going to start standing up together. Nice, gentle stance, feet wider than hip width apart. And we're going to start shifting our weight a little bit side to side. So this is one of my kind of go-to movements for people to relax your back while standing. Instead of standing with your feet together and locking your body into one stiff place, and then trying to hold that, even if you think you're using good posture, just standing immobile will cause tension to build in your body. So if you can get into the habit of keeping some soft movement back and forth, even if it's super slow, instead of locking yourself into one place. So here's another little tip. As you're getting into some soft movement side to side, you can hook your breath to that movement to further relax the back and relax the whole body. So either breathing in as you rock to one side, exhaling as you rock to the other side, which will keep you at a really slow rock, or breathing in for one each direction and breathing out for the next sway. All right? It all depends on what's most comfortable to you, so explore that. But if you hook your breath to your movements, it's going to feel better, it's going to become more natural, and you're going to relax into it much more. All right, so let's just sway and breathe for a couple of minutes here, noticing how your body feels and where you can relax a little bit more as you go. Easy shoulders, easy chest, easy ribs. So don't think of, I've got to use good posture and stick my rib cage forward and out. All right, because that's overdoing it and you're causing your back to work harder than it has to. It's much more helpful to think of the top of your head as just gently floating up a bit towards the ceiling. Everything else is soft and relaxed. Yeah? Breathing as you go. Good. Let's think about your lower body a little bit as you continue to sway and breathe. Your hips and your knees and your ankles are relaxed. They're not locked and stiff. Okay, so big difference between holding everything rigid and trying to move around and relax. It's impossible. Or softening, moving, swaying, opening those joints so that you can move gently into them. All right, so play with that. Same thing at your feet and your toes. So these small joints that we're weight bearing on all the time in standing position. You don't want to lock them, you don't want to stiffen up. And if you were going to ask me, you would also have very light footwear where your little joints and your little muscles can actually move and strengthen as you go. So I understand the importance of support in your footwear, but I encourage you to you spend a little bit of time barefoot every day, safely, on safe surfaces, but get a feel for what it's like to articulate those little muscles and little joints in your feet. It will do wonders for your balance and for your mobility. All right? Okay. Couple more sways here, side to side, breathing well. All right, we're gonna go into a little rotation with some momentum. So if you're not used to swinging and rolling around, take your time going into this. When we shift towards one side, the body's just freely going a little more in that direction. So it's like when we were kids playing on the playground and our bodies were free and loose and didn't have any pain and there was no stiffness and tension. We're going back in that direction. Loosely swinging side to side, and my arms are just freely floating and they bounce right off my body and swing the opposite direction. So there's hardly any effort coming into this. Nice gentle opening for the spine, rotating side to side. And deep breaths as you go. Good. And then gently bringing the body back into that center place. Let your arms relax, let your feet relax. Nice. Let's take a deep breath in. Float the shoulders up and roll them back and release them down. So some gentle shoulder rolls. You don't have to make this as big as I'm making it. Just contracting and relaxing those upper trap muscles that tend to get really tight and tense as we work through the day. Rolling and then release them down. And if you play with this, the more you roll and relax, the more freedom those shoulders will have to rest away from the ears. Big exhale when you come down. 2 more times. Breathe in and out. And breathe in. And out. Nice. All right, one more thing. Just with the upper back, we're going to tilt one ear over towards that same side shoulder and then come right back up to center. Same thing over to the other side. Tilt the ear over. And that may be plenty of movement for you. If you want to take it more into the middle back, sliding the same side fingers down the side of your leg and then roll your way back up. And notice as I'm bending to the side, I'm just softening my knees as I go, making everything a little more connected and coordinated. Breathe in, center. And breathe out, drop to one side. And breathe in. And breathe out. One more time each side. Deep breath in. And out. And last time, breathe in. And out. Coming right into center here. Nice. We're ready to make our way down to the floor. So take your time and explore. Now that we've relaxed and kind of opened up the body, you don't want to tense up just because you're making your way down to the floor. So take your time. Use your body position in the best way possible. So start out by widening your feet apart. You can keep that same nice little sway and roll going to keep things relaxed. Turn towards whatever leg feels the natural one to turn towards. And you've got a nice shelf in that front thigh. All right, so wide feet. As you start to lift that back heel, reach forward with the opposite hand and drop a knee down to the floor. 2 hands on the floor, support yourself and lean away from that front foot so it's free to swing around and back. And then make your way towards a comfortable place, hands and knees. I have this blanket set up for the back of my head eventually, but let's stay in hands and knees for a couple of minutes here. Nice place to relax the spine or to even crawl around. So if your knees are okay in this position, it's a great place to release and relax from. All right? If you need cushion under your knees, feel free to get a blanket, and it may make this position more accessible for you. And I'm going to sway a little bit side to side, drop the head forward, relax the back of the neck, get a nice stretch as the weight of your head hangs down. You can turn your head gently side to side. Let's roll a little bit in the spine. So we're going in the direction of a cat-cow, but we're not going to go all the way towards it. What I want to do is just get going in the direction of each place without going to your maximum range of motion. All right? So I want you to get used to when you're unwinding your body and you're relaxing your body, that you go in softly and you go in gradually. And your body's going to appreciate that and trust you a lot more if you use that quality of movement rather than jumping into 100% right off the base, okay? So rolling towards that cat direction, drop the chin softly, shoulder blades a little bit high, and then drop the belly towards the floor, gentle with the neck here as you send it any amount. And remember, as you're doing these directions of cat-cow, which are flexion and extension of the spine, you can combine some side bending. This is where you get into some really nice rolling of the spine in more than just one direction. Because we don't live in just one direction, right? We're meant to go in multiple directions, combining planes of movement. Couple more rolls around here. Good. From here, we're going to go down onto our belly. So gradually sending one knee back. That same hip is going to softly float down to the floor. And here we are. I've got this blanket here. Kind of nice to have under the elbows and the forearms as we're here on our belly for a little bit. All right, so we're going to shift our weight again, keeping that side to side sway going. It's a great place to let that lower back soften up. Instead of the muscles being stretched out and lengthened when we're bent forward, whether we're at a computer or working with our hands in front of our body rounded forward, this is sending our spine in the opposite direction, putting some slack on those back muscles, letting them relax and take a break. The swaying side to side again is a nice way to help you hear what's happening. And then if it's soft, if it's gentle, not aggressive, everything starts to melt and relax while you're here. That's what we're going for. Nice deep breaths in and out. back doesn't tolerate this position, you can do the same thing by lowering your chest. Having your chest all the way down on the floor, rolling a little side to side from the lower end of the spine. So rolling your hips a little bit side to side to keep some soft sway going. Still relaxing the length of the back. Deep breaths. Good. Now we're all going to go ahead down onto the chest. Join me all the way down. Head turned to one side. Or you can rest your forehead down on top of your hands if that feels better on your neck. We're going to bend one knee at a time, floating the feet in the air. And now we're going to rock the feet slowly off to one side. Back up through center. And slowly off to the other side. So these are kind of upside down windshield wipers. Floating back and forth. Let your hips relax and just see how much they want to twist with that movement. No hurry at all. Don't think you've got to match my speed here. Couple more like this. Good. All right, coming out of this, 1 foot at a time, lowers down to the floor. Nice. We're going to slowly roll onto our back. So use your palms, use the support you have. As you roll towards one side, that same side palms pressing, and you're pulling that same side knee up towards your chest. That's going to make your roll a lot easier on your back. And then go ahead and continue that roll all the way over. Resetting the hips in line with the shoulders. Finding that blanket for the back of the head. And we're going to go to this bent knee position here on our backs. All right, and go ahead and feel both sensing wise and with your hands. Where does your back fall? When you're on your back and your knees are bent, do you have some space behind your lower back? Just notice your own anatomy and where things are placed without trying to arch or trying to tuck. All right? Good. You can keep your hands there if you like. This may help kind of become aware of what we're going into next. We're going into some pelvic tilts. So your feet are flat on the floor. Your knees are in line with your hips, so there's a little separation between your feet here. Hands just gently slid underneath your lower back. When we tilt the pelvis backwards, that lower back is going to go towards your hands, and you'll feel it meet. When you release the pelvis, it will relax. And if you're comfortable rolling the pelvis a little bit forward, that lower back will go even further away from your hands. So we're going to float back and forth here. Same idea as the cat-cow on hands and knees. You don't want to jump into 100% motion right off the bat. This is going to go better for you if you go gradual and soft. Good. So this a movement, it's great to hook the breath too. So as we tilt the pelvis backwards, take a deep breath in. As we tilt the pelvis forward, take a deep breath out. And tilt back, breathe it in. Tilt it forward, breathe out. A few more times like this, everything moving together. Good, here's our last one. Deep breath in as you tilt the pelvis back. Release it forward, exhale. Good, relax everything. Relax the hands off to the sides a bit. Maybe turn those palms face up to help open the chest and the shoulders. Nothing turned on there, everything relaxed and open. Good. Keeping everything soft. Now we're going back to that windshield wiper movement, this time on our backs. Floating both knees off to one side. The feet that are on the ground, they can just roll with that movement naturally. Same thing with the hips. Floating it over to one side, relax. Coming through center, floating it off to the other side, no hurry at all. It's a great, gentle movement. Take one more to each side. We're still breathing really well. If you find a way to hook your breath, it'll keep that breath going nice and deep. For these long windshield wipers, I'll typically breathe in as I come center, and then a deep breath out as you roll to one side. Last time, breathe in and breathe out. Nice, coming back into center. Let's ease the right knee in towards the chest. We're going to hold that knee in place either by placing the hands over the shin, the knee, or if that doesn't feel good on your knee, wrap the hands behind the thigh. Whatever feels best to you. We're going to let that lower back just lengthen out, stretch into the floor. And while we're here, if it's comfortable to go ahead and roll a little side to side, feel free to do that. Breath out. Two more like that. Breathe in. And out. Last time, breathe in. Nice. Coming back into your center place, gently floating that right foot back down to the floor. Switching outside, so now the left knee is coming into the chest. Holding it comfortably in place with one hand or two hands. Letting the lower back lengthen out into the floor and relax. You can stay right here in neutral and breathe. Or if a slow rock a little bit left and right feels good, add that in. Deep breaths on this side. Allow your ribs to open and expand. And then relax back into place. And one more time, deep breath in. Coasting that left foot back down where it came from. All right, I'm gonna grab with my toes my TheraBand that was down low. If you have a TheraBand, you can reach for it too. If not, I'll give you an alternative you can use, very simple. All right, so we're gonna stretch out the back of each leg, nice and softly. So we've already gone into this position, knee to chest, right? That's how we begin to place our leg into that stretch. So drawing that knee into your chest. If you have the TheraBand, looping that TheraBand around the bottom of that foot. And then you've got the TheraBand to support that leg as you send it away from the body. And everyone's different here. So your leg may be out in front of you a bit. And you feel a stretch back in the back of that thigh. Perfect. And you don't want that stretch to be painful or cause you to tense up. That means you've gotten too aggressive with your stretch. So send that leg a little bit away from your body as you settle in here. All right? If you don't have a TheraBand, then you're going to support that leg behind the thigh with your hands. All right? Some people may be able to grab behind the calf and comfortably hang out here. Women are more generally flexible than men, so guys, I don't expect you to really get there. This is good. Or if you need the assistance of a wall, you can go ahead and reposition yourself so that a wall is in front of you to support the weight of that leg. Placing your hips at a good distance away from the wall so that that foot resting up there has that leg positioned in that comfortable stretch for you. All right? So we're gonna hang out here for a good 3 minutes and breathe. A good slow stretch is what we're looking for. We already have the hamstring in place, so wherever you are here, any amount of drawing the toes gently towards your face is going to add the rest of the back of the leg. All right? Make sure not to overdo it here. So relaxing. The great thing about the TheraBand is that you can really hang out, relax the upper body in a much better way. And here we go, let's breathe. Same thing in this position. If a little bit of soft sway side to side helps you to relax into this. I'm rocking across the back of my pelvis, the back of my hips. So my hip is staying exactly where it is, the hip joint. I'm rolling across the back of my hips. Think of every breath is helping you to relax and loosen up a little bit more. Good. Okay, let's come out of this softly. We're going to guide that top heel across the opposite knee and come into this cross-legged position just to let things kind of get reoriented coming out of that great big stretch. Notice how things feel and take a listen to all those sensations. No need to hurry out of a deep stretch like that. Maybe a soft rock a little bit side to side here. Good. And then gently uncrossing that first side, we're going to set up the second side in the same way. So it starts by drawing that knee into the chest. And then that foot is closer to you. If you need to open that knee out to the side to hook that TheraBand. Or if you don't have the TheraBand, you're holding that leg in place behind the thigh, or finding a wall to rest the weight of that leg on. All right, setting up this new side. Find out where that leg needs to be placed, and then adding a little bit of pull from the toes towards your face. If you go too far, too fast, just back it up. And then if you want to add a little soft sway side to side, feel free to do that. Settling in here with some long, deep breaths. This is where it becomes really worth it to take the time. Such a good investment to stretch. We need it more and more as we age as well. just as softly over here. So guiding that second heel across the opposite knee, relaxing this cross-legged position, letting things digest. Notice how your whole body feels. Setting that TheraBand off to the side if you've been using it. Let's go one more time back to that slow windshield wiper movement. Relaxing the arms out to the sides. Coasting the knees off to one side. Relax. Take your time coming through center and sending them off to the other side. One more time each way. Easy shoulders and neck. Good. Making your way back towards center. We're just going to relax here in a little Shavasana. If you have a bolster at home, you can slide a bolster underneath your knees and extend your legs out a little bit over that bolster. Nice support for your lower back here. Puts your pelvis in a nice slack position. If you're comfortable with stretching your legs out all the way and that feels okay for your lower back, feel free to do that. If it doesn't and you have no bolster, go ahead and rebend the knees, feet a little bit apart, let your knees drop together, and that will help just support the weight of your legs so you don't have to hold them in place. Awesome. Let's close the eyes. If you rest the hands on the belly, you can focus a little bit more on your belly breathing here. So when you take a nice deep breath, sending it way down, the diaphragm contracts, the belly expands and lifts up. As you exhale, it returns into place. And let's breathe. Stay right there and continue this Shavasana. No need to come out. If you're in a good place right where you are, stay there. Thanks for joining. I hope you feel great and relaxed. Remember, any kind of investment like this that you give yourself will pay off. All right? Have a great and wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Peace.